अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। वंदितु सौ सिद्धे ध्रुव चलमणु वमम गदिम पत्ते वो छामी समय पाहुड़ मिणमो शुद्ध केवली वणिदम नमः समय साराय स्वानुभूत्या चकासते चित स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावांतर छिदे। Okay. So are you sharing the screen, Darshit? Again, same problem.
Sir, I think so. His problem is when everyone joins,
Hmm.
his speaker, his mic goes off. When you're alone, I think so it's working. I think so when we are so many of us,
Mhm.
his mic is going down. I feel. I don't know. I think.
Because one-to-one we tested, it was okay.
Yeah, so you have to test it with a Zoom people, like 4, 5 people together. Might be you'll come to know there's some fault.
Okay. So yesterday we had discussed verse number 34 and 35. Okay. And in verse number 34, it was said that the knowledge itself is renunciation. Okay. So we will touch upon that and then we will move on to the next 36. Yeah, 36 and 37 we are planning for today, but at least 36 we will cover. So in 34 and 35, verse number 34 and 35, yesterday we discussed that knowledge itself is renunciation. So how does that happen? Okay. So basically, when the soul becomes awakened or when the soul gets enlightened, then he knows self and non-self very distinctly, because now he is already an enlightened soul. He is a realized soul. Okay. He has experienced himself. So now he knows the distinctions between the self and the non-self. So when he knows the distinction between the self and non-self, then he realizes that, oh, soul's primary function is just to know. So where is the question of renunciation coming up? Because in the first place, we don't grasp anything, we don't accept anything. So where is the question of abandoning it or renouncing it? Okay. So that was the question. And in answer to that question, verse number 34 and 35 was written by Kunkund Acharya Dev. Okay. So the trick lies here that the moment you know that self and non-self are two distinct things, okay, the very same moment you are not inclined toward the non-self. Okay. Your active consciousness, the upyog, okay, it turns inward and connects with your pure soul. And the moment it connects with the pure soul, self-realization happens, experience of the soul happens. And at that point of time, the soul realizes that I am only a knower. Okay. And all the non-self, I am distinct from all the non-self substances. So when he realizes this distinction, he automatically doesn't get entangled in the non-self. Okay. And he takes shelter of the pure soul. So the moment he takes the pure shelter of the pure soul, the experience of the soul happens, and at that very moment, the attachment does not arise. Okay. Since the attachment does not arise, it is said that the knowledge itself is renunciation. So in the knowledge, earlier you were knowing the non-self substance as your own. Now in the same knowledge, you are knowing the non-self substance as the non-self. So you don't get involved in that, you don't get connected to that. Okay. You remain in yourself. And if you remain in yourself, automatically the attachment does not arise. And when the attachment does not arise, it is said that you have renounced the attachment. Actually, the attachment does not arise. Okay. So that is the whole logic uh, behind the statement that knowledge itself is renunciation. So which knowledge? The knowledge that the active consciousness that gets connected to the soul, that particular knowledge itself is renunciation, because in that knowledge you are seeing the non-self as the non-self and understanding that non-self to be non-self. You don't manifest ownership of that. You don't do oneness, mindness, doership, enjoyership with that. Okay. So you remain engrossed in yourself, and once you remain engrossed in yourself, automatically the attachment does not arise, and so it is termed as renunciation of attachment. Okay. So everything boils down only in knowledge. So knowledge itself is renunciation, because what you are doing, you are just knowing the non-self as non-self. Okay. And when you know non-self as non-self, you don't get attracted to the non-self, right? Then automatically you get connected to your pure soul, the self-realization happens, and in that self-realization moment, you realize that you are only a knower, and you have not grasped anything. You don't, so you don't want to renounce anything. So it is said renunciation only in name. Actually speaking, there is no renunciation, because when you know non-self as non-self, that itself is renunciation. There is no physical acceptance or grasping, and there is no physical renunciation or abandonment. Okay. It is only in the knowledge you believe the non-self to be yours. Now in the same knowledge you believe non-self to be non-self, and that is called renunciation. Okay. So that was the summary of the class that we discussed yesterday. You go through it once more, and if you have any questions, you may ask anytime to me. Okay. Now we will move on to the verse number 36. It's on page number 320. Yes. Yes. This one. So now the soul which was ignorant earlier become an enlightened one when he practiced discriminative knowledge, as prescribed in verse number 31, 32, 33. Okay. And then in 34, again, he is a awakened soul. He is an enlightened soul. So he believes non-self to be non-self, and that itself is renunciation. So now 36, that same soul is continuing the journey. So here also we are talking of the soul who is enlightened. Okay. Who has got rid of delusion. Okay. Still conduct deluding karma is there, but faith deluding karma, darshan moh, has gone. Okay. So we are talking of a enlightened soul, how he sees the things. Okay. So first we will read the Hindi version. मोहादि मेरे कुछ नहीं, मैं एक हूँ उपयोगमय, है मोह निर्ममता यही, वे कहे जो जाने समय. Okay. The revered Acharya, who is a knower, who is a 1 minute. So the revered Acharya, who is a knower of the self, okay, and the non-self, as well as of the doctrine. Okay. So the revered Acharya who practices discriminative knowledge and who knows the self and the non-self separately, clearly, as well as he is aware of the doctrines. Okay. He is aware of all the doctrines that has been taught in Jainism. So he is aware because he is Acharya. He is the leader of the congregation. Under him there are many monks. Okay. So he is quite experienced also, and he is most revered also. So the revered Acharya, uh, so the revered Acharya, who is a knower of the self and the non-self as well as of the doctrine, Siddhant, says that one who knows delusion is nothing of mind. So that delusion has to be removed, because here word written in Hindi is moh, but here moh means charitra moh. Okay. Conduct deluding karma. Okay. So you can change it to one who knows moh is nothing of mind. So here moh would be charitra moh. So what would be right for charitra moh? Yeah, you just put it in the bracket, charitra moh. Okay. And you cut the delusion. Because delusion means you are a wrong believer. Here, the disciple is not a wrong believer. He is an enlightened one. Okay. So the one who knows moh, that is charitra moh, conduct deluding, is nothing of mind. So under the what comes under darshan moh and what comes under charitra moh? Faith deluding karma and conduct deluding karma. So faith deluding karma, under faith deluding karma is the wrong belief. And under conduct deluding karma are the 25 passions. Okay. Krodh, anger, pride, deceit, greed. 4 into 4 levels. Anantanubandhi, Apratyakan, Pratyakan, Sanjulan. So 4 into 4 is 16. And the 9 quasi passions. Okay. All this put together is 25 passions. That is the function of charitra moh. What darshan moh does? Darshan moh does that he doesn't allow you to manifest right belief. But this person has already manifested right belief. Now he wants to conquer the charitra moh. Okay. Conduct deluding karma. Okay. So he says that this passions is nothing of mind. This charitra moh, under the influence of charitra moh, there are passions. Those passions are nothing of mind. Okay. I am solely of the nature of active consciousness. Upyog. Okay. I am solely of the nature of active consciousness, is free from mindness towards the delusion, is free from nirmam. So it will be, yeah, mindness. Okay, good. So this has been corrected. So it is mindness. Ness is coming twice. So you cut one, only mindness. is free from minus towards, again we have to put in the charitramo, minus towards the conduct deluding karma. So here basically conduct deluding karma is the passions. So he is free from minus towards passions. So passions are appearing in the modification, but this enlightened soul knows those passions as distinct from him. Okay. So he is practicing discriminative knowledge. He knows the difference between the passions and the pure soul. So that's why he says these passions are nothing of mine, and I am only the nature of active consciousness, upyog. Okay. So my job is just to know and nothing else. And I am free from minus towards this conduct deluding karma. Okay. In the fourth line of the verse, it is said, those who know Samay say so. So the word Samay has many meanings. Samay means the soul. Samay means doctrine. Samay means scripture. Samay means the six substance divided into the distinction of self and non-self. Beyond this, there are also many other meanings. Therefore, whichever meaning fits the context of the passage should be taken as proper. Since here the discussion is about the division of self and non-self, about the doctrine of the jinas, therefore, the meaning adopted here is that the Acharya Dev, who is knower of self and non-self and of doctrine, speaks thus. So the revered Acharya, who is knower of the self and the non-self as well as of the doctrine. This whole sentence means Samay. Okay. Says that one who knows Mo is nothing of mine. Okay. Charitramo is nothing of mine. I am solely of the nature of active consciousness. So what does this active consciousness do? Subhaji, what does this active consciousness do? What is the function of active consciousness? Yeah, who will try?
Knower and seer.
So active consciousness job is to know and see.
Yes,
Upyog.
Upayog.
Yes, upyog. Okay. So under upyog, there are two attributes. One is perception, other is knowledge. Perception is darshan, samanya avlokan, and knowledge is gyan. Okay. So what he says that I am solely of the nature of active consciousness. So if he is of the nature of active consciousness, then what would be his function? To know and to see. That's all. Okay. So he is free from minus towards the conduct deluding karma. Okay. He is free from towards minus towards passions, all kinds of passions. Okay. So in one modification, there are two partitions. One is the active consciousness, janna janna upyog, and the other one is the what you call the passions. Okay. Two things distinct. Okay. So now we will understand the commentary very well. Okay. In the introductory remarks to this Gatha in the Atma Khyati, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev writes that, anticipating the question, how does this experience bring about the discriminative knowledge, Ved Vigyan, of the alien state, Parabhav, okay, alien state, alien disposition, that is Parabhav. He first establishes discriminative knowledge by distinguishing the bhavak from the bhav. So bhavak and bhav we have studied in verse number 32. Okay. So bhavak is the rise of the karma, and bhav is the fallout of the disposition as a result of that karma. Okay. So bhav becomes to the bhavak. Bhav belongs to the bhavak. Okay. So we have to distinguish between soul, pure soul, and bhavak, bhav. Okay. Bhavak, bhav. Bhavak is the karma and bhav is the alien disposition, which is a fruition of the rise of that karma. Okay. It is already well known that in verse 31, the matter of avoiding the fault of the mixing of the knowable and the knower. Okay, 31 was Gne Gnayak Sankar Dosh. Avoiding the fault defect of the mixing of knowable and the knower was discussed. And in verse 32, the matter of avoiding the fault of mixing the bhavya and the bhavak. Now here in verse 36, he first imparts knowledge of distinction between bhavak bhav, and in verse 37, he will impart knowledge of distinction from the standpoint of the knowable objects. Okay. So 36, the discrimination is between the pure soul and the bhavak bhav. In 37, the distinction is between the pure soul and the knowable objects, gne. Okay. Gne gnayak, bhav bhavak. Okay. So this is this was the explanation given by Dr. Bharilji. Still, the commentary has not started. Let's read further. Darshidi, take it up. Yeah. Explaining the meaning of this Gatha, Pandit Jaichand Chabdaji writes in the Bhavarth. So still this is not part of the syllabus. For understanding, we are putting it. Darshidi, you cut this line. Understood, I won't use bold formatting for the translate unless you specifically ask for it. Yeah, delete this line. Yeah. This deluding karma. So we will see the second one. Okay. It has given two options. No, wait a minute. Take it further down, Darshiji, slightly. One minute. Okay. Take it up slightly up. Yeah. Okay. So out of these two paragraphs, we are looking at the second paragraph. Take it further up. Yes, you cancel the previous one. This paragraph. Two kinds of translation. One is this one and one is this one. So we will see the second one. Okay. When discriminative knowledge, Ved Vigyan arises, that the manifestation of the power of consciousness is nothing but the activity of consciousness of knowledge. Okay. The manifestation of the power of consciousness is nothing but the activity of consciousness of knowledge and perception. Okay, upyog, gyan and darshan. Whereas this impurity consists of attachment, aversion and delusion, and belongs to the insentient material substance in the form of material karma. Okay, so all these kind of attachment, aversions, passions, all these are what? They belong to the matter substance, because it is distinct from the soul. Okay, so that has arisen just because there is a rise of karma over there. Charitramonia karma, conduct deluding karma, rise of conduct deluding karma is there, and correspond to that, attachment aversion is manifesting in the modification. So this attachment and aversion, we will put it uh, under the material substance. Okay, it is a material substance. It is an insentient material substance. Okay, so the manifestation of the power of consciousness is nothing but the activity, consciousness of knowledge and perception. Whereas this impurity consists of attachment, aversion, and delusion. So two parties. One party is active consciousness. The other party are the attachment, aversions, passions, everything. Okay. And belongs to the insentient material substance in the form of material karma, dravya karma. Then there necessarily arises discrimination between the rising karma and the resultant modified state of the soul, bhavak bhav. So bhavak is the rising karma and bhav is the resultant. Because of the rise of that karma, the resultant modified state of the soul, the alien state of the soul, the alien disposition of the soul, which is the state of delusion in the form of material karma, which is the state of not delusion, conduct deluding karma. Conduct deluding karma in the form of
Ji, excuse me, Ji, 1 minute. Sorry for interpreting. Right, in the other, they have given it as Bhavya, but here it is given Bhav, both are same.
yeah. Earlier it was bhavya. So
Yeah.
bhavya, there it means that the soul which has manifested in the form of attachment and aversion.
Resultant modified state of the soul is given as Bhavya.
Yes.
But in
So
here it is Bhava. Everything is same.
yes, everything is same, but there it was said that the soul is manifesting as attachment and aversion. And here he just wants to say that this attachment and aversion is the result of that karma. Okay. So in the textbook itself, Hindi also it is written bhavya. So that's why they have written bhavya, but we can use it as bhav also. Okay.
Bhav is attachment, aversion. That state is above.
Yeah, that state is bhav. And bhavya means the soul manifested in that manner. That is only the difference.
Yeah.
So here we use at bhav only. Okay.
Okay.
Here it is written bhavak bhav, not bhavya. Okay. So bhav means the attachment aversion and bhavak means the rise of the material karma. Okay. That much you take here. So the resultant modified state of the soul, which is the state of conduct deluding karma. Very good. Which is the state of conduct deluding karma in the form of material karma. Okay. So conduct deluding karma is in the form of material karma, dravya karma. With this discrimination, the self necessarily abides in the experience of its own consciousness. So now when you know two things are different, you don't get entangled into attachment and aversion because you see your pure soul as distinct from that. Okay. So here the soul, just because he knows that this attachment and aversion does not belong to me, it is an alien disposition, it is distinct from me. So the active consciousness doesn't go towards that. The active consciousness goes towards the pure soul, goes inward, and it abides in the experience of its own consciousness. Okay. Now, next paragraph. In the above explanation, the point is made very clearly that transformation in the form of knowing and perceiving is merely the manifestation of the power of consciousness, Chaitanya Shakti. Okay. So knowing and seeing is the manifestation of the power of consciousness, or you can also say power of knowledge and perception. Okay. Because these two attributes are considered under consciousness. Okay. So knowing and seeing, power of knowledge and perception attribute. put it under bracket. Knowledge and perception attributes. Yes. Attributes, because knowledge and perception, two attributes are there. Okay, good. So here it is called Chaitanya Shakti. Chaitanya Shakti means Gyan, Darshan, Shakti. Okay. Whereas the impurity, so two parts. One is the active consciousness, which is pure, which is the manifestation of knowledge and perception attributes. Okay. Whereas the impurity in the form of attachment and aversion is a state of bhavak bhav. Okay. Is a state of karma, rise of karma, and the corresponding bhav or the disposition. Okay. Is the state of bhavak bhav, and it belongs to the insentient pudgal substance, matter substance. Okay. So this attachment and aversion belongs to the insentient pudgal substance, matter substance, in the form of karmic matter, dravya karma. Because this bhav, okay, bhavak bhav, does not arise without the rise of karma. So there is a rise of dravya karma, and as a resultant, there is a sentiment of attachment and aversion. Both of these are insentient matter substance in the form of karmic matter. When this impurity becomes known in knowledge, the knowledge itself appears impure. Okay. When this impurity becomes known in knowledge, the knowledge itself appears impure. Appears, but it doesn't become impure. Okay. However, knowledge does not actually become impure. Okay. It appears impure. Why it appears impure? Because of the attachment and aversion that has manifested in the modification. Okay. The knowledge itself appears impure. However, knowledge does not actually become impure. If the distinction between this knowledge and attachment is understood, okay, two parties, one is knowledge and other is attachment, is understood, then the Atma necessarily becomes established in its own experience. Okay. If the distinction is established, then the soul necessarily becomes established in its own experience, because he knows that this alien disposition of attachment and aversion is quite distinct from me. I am conscious substance. It is a insentient matter. It has arisen because of the karma. Okay. It is distinct from me. So the active consciousness establishes in its own experience. Okay. The active consciousness takes shelter of the pure soul and immerses in the pure soul. So now two party, one side pure soul, other side attachments, aversions, etc., passions. Okay. So this is how you practice discriminative knowledge. Okay. Now this is part of our syllabus, Atmakhyati Tika by Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev. In reality, Nischay, the delusion, not it will be delusion, again it will be conduct deluding karma. Produced by, you can put bracket mo. In the bracket, you, not there. Conduct deluding karma, bracket mo. Hindi version it is written mo, so they have written delusion, but actually it is charitra mo. Okay. So for clarity, you can write charitra mo also, no problem. Because he is already an enlightened soul, right? So his darshan mo has already gone. Now only charitra mo is remaining. Produced by pudgal substance, that is karmic matter, which manifests through its capacity to yield its fruit and thus becomes a modifying agent. Bhavak Roop. Okay. is nothing of mine. Okay. In reality, the conduct deluding karma, charitra moha, produced by Pudgal substance, which manifests through its capacity to yield its fruit and thus becomes a modifying agent. Bhavak bhav is nothing of mine. Okay, because I am distinct from that. I am active consciousness. Okay, my job is just to know and see, and this is a fallout of the rise of karma. Okay, this attachment and aversion is quite distinct from me, so this is nothing of mine. For it is impossible in the ultimate sense, parmarth, for the one knower nature, ek gnayak sabhav bhav, as if engraved and fixed, to be modified by the state of non-self. Okay. So I am a knower, I am the only knower. So it is not possible for the knower to manifest into this attachments and aversion. Okay. That is non-self, parbhav. Okay. So I never manifest into parbhav. Okay. So this is the explanation in the first paragraph. The second point is this, that the Bhagwan Atma ever adept in illuminating the universe. Adept means expert. Okay. Ever expert in illuminating the universe. So the total capacity, the complete capacity of the pure soul is to know the universe. Okay, because it has in it the potential to manifest omniscience knowledge. Okay, omniscience knowledge. So that is the full capacity. The second point is this, that the Bhagwan Atma ever adept in illuminating the universe, endowed with radiant and eternal splendor, knows by means of its own nature, which is nothing but the power of sentient Chaitanya Shakti. Okay, Chaitanya Shakti means power of knowledge and perception. Okay, which is nothing but the power of sentience, that in supreme reality I am one. Aham ekko. In supreme reality I am one. Although it is impossible to prevent the mutual interpretation of all substances, although it is impossible to prevent the mutual interpenetration of all substance, so that my soul and insentient matter, jad padarth, appear to be united like Srikhand. Okay. So it is impossible that the active consciousness and the manifestation of attachment and aversion become one. Okay. Appear to be united like Srikhand. What is this Srikhand? Srikhand is strained yogurt dessert, or it is called sweetened hung curd. So when the curd and the sugar is mixed, it is called Srikhand. Appear to be united like Srikhand. So in Srikhand, sugar and curd are mixed. Okay, we feel that both are united. Nevertheless, just as in Srikhand, owing to the distinctly experienced difference in taste, so curd's taste is sour and sugar taste is sweet. So taste are different. Okay. Owing to the distinctly experienced difference in taste, one knows I am utterly detached from delusion. Again, here delusion would be the attachments and aversion. I am utterly detached from, the word is moha, but you write here attachment and aversion. Because if I write conduct deluding karma, it doesn't suit. Okay. So you write moha, instead of delusion, you write moha. Cut delusion, write moha, M-O-H-A, yeah. and bracket attachment and aversion. So this is how you can change over there also. Okay. Previously also, wherever we have written conduct deluding karma, you write more over there and bracket attachment and aversion. Okay. So we will understand that this is conduct deluding karma, because darshan moh is the wrong belief. So here we are not writing wrong belief. It is attachment and aversion. Okay. So Darshiji, if you find time, you can do it later on after the class. Wherever we have written no conduct deluding karma, you write this way. I am utterly detached from moh, bracket, attachment and aversion. Because being ever established in one's own unity, the soul remains unchanged throughout time. In this way, knowledge of distinction, Ved Vigyan, arises from the standpoint of the experiencer. Okay. So, one modification, two things, one partition. One side it is active consciousness, which is a part of the pure soul. Okay. It arises from the pure soul, knowing attribute every moment. And the other part is because the fallout of the karma, bhavak bhav. Okay. So that is alien disposition. So both are distinct. Okay. And the enlightened soul knows that both are distinct. So he never takes ownership of the attachment and aversion. He knows that his attachment and aversions are distinct from me. Okay. So here the discrimination of knowledge happens here in this way. One part is active consciousness, knowledge and perception, and the other part is attachment and aversion. They know it separately because he is an enlightened soul. So he knows what is self and what is non-self. Okay. So he knows the distinction. Okay. So here ends, syllabus ends here. You can, here, experiencer. From the standpoint of the experiencer. Darshitji, from the standpoint of the experiencer, this is the syllabus. Here, by means of the example of Srikhand, not this is not the part of the syllabus, we are just reading it. Here it ends, bhavak bhav. Yes, end of the commentary, you can write, end of the commentary. Not syllabus, commentary. Okay. Otherwise, you are doing blue color over there, no? You can do that also. Yes. Yes. Now we will read the explanation also for further clarity. Okay. Subha, you read.
Here, by means of the example of Shrikant, both the mutual interpenetration of all substances in the same spatial field, Kshetra Avagaha, and their mutual distinctions have been clarified. Shrikant is prepared by mixing curd and sugar. In Shrikant, curd and sugar appear to be one. But when tasted, the sourness of the curd and the sweetness of the sugar are experienced separately. From this, it becomes evident that although they appear mixed, in reality they are not fully merged. For if they had become completely one, it would not have been possible to taste their different flavors separately. Similarly, although the state of knower that knows and the delusion that becomes known appear indistinguishable. In the
So here again delusion would be
delusion means more attachment and aversion.
Attachment and aversion in bracket.
Right, that becomes known, appear indistinguishable in the experience of the ignorant. Their distinctness can nevertheless be recognized because of the difference in their respective taste. Knowledge, which possesses the taste of unperturbedness, Nirakula Svada, and delusion, that is moh, attachment and aversion, which possess a state of perturbedness, appear separately and distinctly within knowledge itself. From this, enlightened souls determine. The delusion characterized by the taste of perturbedness is no way mine. I am only knowledge, characterized by the taste of unperturbedness. This alone is what the enlightened describe as freedom from minus towards moh. Explaining this gatha.
So delusion, again here delusion has to be cut to make it more. The more attachment and aversion characterized by the taste of perturbedness is in no way mine. I am only knowledge characterized by the taste of freedom from perturbedness, or what it is written, unperturbedness, na? Here. Unperturbedness. It's okay. By the taste of unperturbedness. This alone is what the enlightened describe as freedom from minus towards
moh.
Again you write more.
Attachment aversion.
Attachment aversion.
Explaining this gatha, Swamiji says, it is said here that Pudgala substance appearing in the form of bhavaka give rise to moh, attachment aversion. The moh, attachment aversion referred to here is from the viewpoint of conduct deluding karma.
So now it has been clarified. The delusion referred to here is from the viewpoint of conduct deluding karma, charitra moh. Okay. So again delusion would be moh. So what they have done, by mistake, they have they write delusion everywhere. But here it does not mean delusion. Here it means conduct deluding karma, charitra moh, not darshan moh. It is charitra moh. So charitra moh is attachment aversion.
Conduct deluding karma, charitra moh. It pertains to the stage after acquiring right belief, samyak darshana, not to false belief, mithyatva. The state that inclines towards a non-self, namely attachment and aversion, is itself moh. That moh is in no way related to me. The disposition of remaining attentive towards a non-self is not mine. Rather, the disposition of remaining attentive towards my own nature, swabha, is mine. I have absolutely no relation with the disposition that are inclined towards a conduct deluding karma in the form of bhavaka, because from the supreme viewpoint, Paramatha, it is impossible for the one conscious essence, Chaitanya Dhatu, of the nature of a knower to become an alien state, Parabhava Rupa, or to be transformed into an Bhava Rupa, Bhavya Rupa. Just as karma functions as Bhavaka, thereby giving rise to moh, attachment aversion, in the same way, I am a fundamental element whose nature is actively conscious knowledge and perception, by virtue of which the powers of knowledge and perception becomes manifest in my modes, pariyaya. This manifest active consciousness is mine. However, moh, attachment aversion, is not mine. The modification in the form of attachment and aversion, in which karma is instrumental, nimitta, is reflected in active consciousness, is not mine. For it is impossible for a pure conscious entity, Suddha Chaitanya, of the nature of active consciousness, whose essence is the engraved and fixed knower nature, to become a impure, vikara rupa, or to assume the condition of being modified, bhavya pane. I am fundamental element whose nature is the power of consciousness, Chaitanya Shakti Swabhav. Therefore, whatever manifestation occurs in me takes place only in the form of the modifications of knowing and perceiving. The contrary modification that arises through the instrumental condition, nimitta, of psychic karma states is not my manifestation. My nature is such that there is no impurity in the modes. from the standpoint of potency, Sakti Rupa, the Atma is certainly a knower. However, its manifestation or explicit expression also occurs naturally in the form of cognitive and perceptive active consciousness. Acharya Jayasena says that one noteworthy point is that the self-cognizing knowledge, Swa Samvedana Jnana, which was called Pratyakyana in the previous Gatha, is here referred to as freedom from minus, Nirma Matva, or freedom from Moh, attachment aversion, Nirmohatva. Just as in the case of Jita Moga and Shina Moga, it is said that in the place of the word Mog, one could insert the words Rag, Dvesh, Krodh, Mana, and so on, and then construct 16 verses, each with corresponding explanation. So also here, both Acharya Amritchandra and Acharya Jayasena says that 16 verses can be composed with the explanation. Such verses can be composed in the following way. In the same way, other verses also should be composed. Their explanation can also be made in this manner that karma is the experiencer, bhavaka, and the attachment is its object, bhavya. That attachment is not me, for I am only of the nature of being the knower, Nyayaka Bhav. Although that attachment is a knowable fit to be known within my knowledge, it is not my nature that the attachment should become one as my knowledge. In the same way, this should be applied to aversion, dvesh, anger, krodh, pride, mana, and other passions as well. Question: are only 16 verses to be composed here, or can more also be made? Yes, more can also be made. Such indeed is the instruction of Acharya Amritchandra. Acharya Jayasena even says that since the contrary disposition, Vibhava Bhav, are innumerable in extent like the universe, Loka Praman, innumerable verses can be composed. But composing innumerable is, of course, not possible. Therefore, as many as is within your capacity, so many should certainly be composed.
So, removing the word mo, you can change it to attachment, aversion, anger, pride, deceit, greed, all the quasi passions, you can go on adding words after words. And in the same way, you have to say that I am only active consciousness. This attachment does not belong to me. Attachment is not mine. Okay. So this is how you have to practice discriminative knowledge. So Swamiji's clarification was the most satisfying one. You can see from here, the delusion referred to here is from the viewpoint of conduct deluding karma. So here the whole meaning changed. Okay. It is said here that the Pudgal substance, page number 323. Yes, this one. It is said here that the Pudgal substance appearing in the form of bhavak give rise to moh, attachment and aversion. The moh referred to here is from the viewpoint of conduct deluding karma. Okay. So here you underline this line. It is conduct deluding karma. Charitra moh. So charitra moh's result is attachment and aversion only. Okay. It pertains to the stage after acquiring right belief. Okay. So already right belief is there. So darshan moh is already gone. It pertains to the stage after acquiring right belief, samyak darshan, not to false belief. The state that inclines towards the non-self, namely attachment and aversion, is itself delusion. Okay, so it's itself more. You have to write more. Okay, is itself more. That delusion is in no way related to me. Okay, because that delusion has already gone. So now whatever remains is charitramo, and that is in no way related to me. The disposition of remaining attentive towards the non-self is not mine. Rather, the disposition of remaining attentive towards my own nature, just one, I missed one line. Yeah. Towards my own nature is mine. I have absolutely no relation with the disposition that are inclined towards the conduct deluding karma in the form of bhavak, because from the supreme viewpoint, parmartha, it is impossible for the one conscious essence, Chaitanya Dhatu, of the nature of a knower to become an alien state or to be transformed into an bhavya roop. Okay. So soul remains a soul, active consciousness remains active consciousness, and the other part is attachment and aversion. Okay. Just as a karma functions as a bhavak, thereby giving rise to attachment and aversion, in the same way, I am a fundamental element whose nature is actively conscious knowledge and perception, by virtue of which the powers of knowledge and perception becomes manifest in my modes. The manifest active consciousness is mine, this part is mine. However, attachment and aversion is not mine. The modification in the form of attachment and aversion, in which karma is instrumental, is reflected in active consciousness, is not me. It is only reflected, but it is not me. For it is impossible for a pure conscious entity, Shuddha Chaitanya, of the nature of active consciousness, whose essence is the engraved and fixed knower nature. Okay. Tankot Kirin Gnayak Swabhav Bhav. Okay. Tankot means it remains knower, only remains a knower. It never becomes a doer. To become an impure or to assume the condition of being modified. Okay. So Swamiji has clarified. So now you know that in the modification, there are two types of things happening. One is the active consciousness, which is knower and seer, and the other part is the attachment and aversion, which is a fallout of charitra monia karma. Okay. So both the tastes are different. Okay. Just now we saw the example of Srikhand, sweetened curd. So in that, the curd is sour and the sugar is sweet. Okay. So both tastes are different, although they appear to be mixed, but they are not mixed. They are different only. Similarly, in my active consciousness, attachment and aversions are reflected. But attachment and aversion, the taste is perturbedness, anxiety, and the taste of active consciousness is unperturbedness. Okay. So the tastes are different, the characteristics are different, and that is how we practice discriminative knowledge between the two. And when we practice such discriminative knowledge, we become enlightened one. Okay. So this is all that we have to discuss on 36. There is a Kalash coming up after this. We will read that Kalash number 30, page number 325. Yes. So I'll read the Hindi one. One minute. Please compose and so this is not the next page, 325. Here, this one, 30. कलश 30। सब और से चैतन्यमय निज भाव से भरपूर हूँ, मैं स्वयं ही इस लोक में निज भाव का अनुभव करूं। यह मोह मेरा कुछ नहीं, चैतन्य का घन पिंड हूँ। ओ शुद्ध चिद घन महानिधि, मैं स्वयं एक अखंड हूँ। In this world, I myself experience my one soul nature. Okay. What I experience? I experience my one soul nature, which is filled on all sides with the essence of my own sentience, Chaitanya Ras. Okay. So, in this world, I myself experience my own soul nature, which is filled on all sides with the essence of my own sentience, Chaitanya Ras. This delusion is in no way mine. Okay. This delusion here means the moh. Again, that charitra moh will come. Okay. This delusion is in no way mine, for I am the repository of the radiant mass of pure sentience, Shuddha Chaitanya. You can write mo there. This mo is in no way mine. So we will understand that this is charitra mo. Okay, good. The mo is in no way mine, for I am the repository of the radiant mass of pure sentience. Okay. So when I am a mass of pure sentience, then what should be my function? My function would be to just know and not do anything. Okay. So this is how the discriminative knowledge is practiced. Okay. We will also see this Natak Samaisar. The essence of this meter is given in the Natak Samaisar in the following way. I am reading the meaning straight away. The enlightened soul. Okay. We are all talking about enlightened soul. Says, I am forever one and I am soaked in the essence of my transcendental bliss, Atindriya Anand Ras. I am soaked, I am immersed in the essence of my transcendental bliss. There is no deficiency in me. I am complete in myself. Deluding karma and the states that arise during its operation are in no way mine. To regard them as one's own is to fall into the well of delusion. Okay, here delusion will be okay. Here delusion is okay. My true nature is the ocean of pure knowledge, perception, and consciousness. Okay. In the Kalash, the word Nasti occurs twice. When a word is repeated twice, its meaning is not limited to only twice, but it implies many times. For example, when one says, you repeat this again and again, it does not mean only twice, but many times. The Acharya says, brother, you must think again and again that delusion is in no way mine. Okay. So again here delusion would be more. Okay. You write down more. More is in no way mine. By using the word nasti twice, Achadev wants to emphasize this point. He wishes to say that whether you say it once or 1,000 times, the truth remains the same. That delusion and other distorted state, vikari bhavas, okay, and alien substances are in no way mine. So again you write delusion more here, more. Question. In the Gatha and the Kalas, it is spoken only about delusion, that is more, and yet you have added non-self substances along with it. Oh brother, Acharya Dev has indeed instructed that by changing the word mo, one should add 16 terms in its place and construct 16 verses. In those karma, quasi karma, mind, speech, body, and the five senses are also included. And there are all non-self, and these are all non-self substances. Are they not? Therefore, all these are in no way mine. I am the great treasure of pure consciousness. I am the immutable reality, whose very nature is knowledge and bliss, filled with the essence of transcendental bliss. I experience my belongingness only in myself. In the states like delusion, etc., I do not have even the slightest belongingness. In the colors, the very word chidgan, solid mass of consciousness, is used, but it can be expanded in this way, that I am a solid mass of knowledge, a solid mass of perception, a solid mass of bliss, a solid mass of power. In the same manner, I am a solid mass of countless other attributes. For I am indeed a solid mass of infinite attributes. And in me, there is not even the slightest trace of moh and other distorted states, and of alien substance such as the body. The contemplation should be cherished until the experience of the consciousness soul is attained. Until our application of active consciousness upyog 2 becomes filled with the solid mass of consciousness. Okay. So, it was a very good example of practicing discriminative knowledge. So there are two parties. One is active consciousness, the knower and seer. The other part is the attachment, aversion, passions, all alien disposition. So between these two, there is a distinction. They are not one. Although under the ignorance it appears as one, but they never become one. The enlightened soul knows them as separate, and my part is the active consciousness. I am only a knower and seer and not the doer. Okay. So in this way, the discriminative knowledge is practiced. You try little bit, read again and again. And if you have any question, you can ask me also right now and later on also anytime. Okay. So this is all we have. 5-6 minutes are left. So if you want to ask any question today regarding today's Gatha number 36, you can ask, or the Kalash number 30. So Acharya Amritchandra Dev in this commentary on the verse number 36 says that this mo is not mine. I am the active consciousness. So here mo means charitra mo, okay, that we already read in Swamiji's description, okay. So that charitra mo means attachment, aversions, passions, everything else, okay. So there are two parties. One is active consciousness, which is knowing every moment, okay. And the other part is the passions, the attachment, the aversions, okay, everything, okay. So these two are two distinct things. The attachment and aversion are a result of rise of karma, dravya karma, okay. And the test of them is perturbedness, anxiety, or restlessness, okay. And the test of active consciousness is unperturbedness. So both are quite distinct. Their characteristics different, their taste is different. So in this way, we practice discriminative knowledge. The active consciousness belongs to me. It belongs to the pure soul. Okay. but the attachment and aversion does not belong to me. So this is in a nutshell what we have discussed today. Hope everyone is clear. Rajeshri ji, understanding?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Priyanka is there? This was Priyanka's question last week, and this explanation has come today. Okay, so Darshit ji will not be able to. Jinali, you understood? Subhaji?
Rajesh sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, now we hear you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what's going on with my gadget. Sorry about that.
You're echoing.
Yeah, echoing. Okay, you carry on. Ask if you have any question.
No, I'm fine, thank you. I've understood it.
Okay, so now it is okay. So this problem also got settled on its own time.
I haven't done anything. I don't know what's going on.
It's all
just worked on
independent.
its
It's
own.
all independently happening. There is Antarai Karma, rise of Antarai Karma. So your question we are not able to hear. And now that karma has gone, so we are able to hear. It's just like that. Okay, but this Ved Vigyan was very important. We will, again, the verse number 37 is also on similar lines. Instead of attachment and aversion, there will be knowables. That is the only change. Otherwise, the Gatha is absolutely same. It also says that Mo is not mine. I am active consciousness. Okay. Only the change is about the word. Here it was attachment and aversion. There it would be knowables. Here it was Mo. There it would be Gne. That is only the change. Otherwise, everything is same. So we will go discuss next week also 37 when we'll discuss 37 and 38. There also we will practice this discriminative knowledge. So if you work a bit, you'll be able to understand, and this will make the practice of discriminative knowledge very easy. Okay. If you understand today's class, the practice of discriminative knowledge will become very easy. You'll be able to connect to your soul in any situation, because the distinction is always there. The knowledge does not overlap and goes towards attachment. The attachment doesn't overlap and come towards the knowledge. Both remain separate, only separate, only separate. We have to just know it. We have to accept it that these two are separate. So the knowledgeable one, the enlightened soul believes it as separate. So that's why they are enlightened soul. And the ignorant soul believes both as one. Okay. And that's why he is ignorant. So we also knew why a soul remains ignorant, and we also came to know how a soul becomes an enlightened one just by knowing the distinction. Okay. So this was last week Priyanka ji's question, and the answer has come this week. Okay. Anything
Sir,
else?
we got your marks, sir. Today it came.
Acha, they have posted it.
Yeah, I
Oh.
got it on email.
Earlier,
I got-
what used to happen, they used to put in something, so you could not see the result. Only on the day of declaration of result, you would be able to see, but this time I think they have forgotten that option.
Yeah, so now I got it today. So I got 4 or 5 mails. All the
Oh.
Viva, LCP, C1,
Acha,
CC1.
separately.
Separately, all the 5 came, sir. But CC2
Acha.
didn't come. All the others had come.
Acha.
CC2 is, yet pending. I'll
Okay, so
check it out
everyone
again.
must have received this thing.
I don't know. I got it. I don't know
Darshit
what
ji, you
others.
received mail?
Sorry, sir, I haven't checked actually, so I don't know.
Okay, you check and let me know. So, Rajeshri ji, your CC2 is missing.
My CC2 is missing. I'll check it out again because
So
there
I
were
will
so
have to
many.
inform them. Otherwise, in the result only,
No,
final result, you will.
I'll message you, sir, because there were 4, 5 mails.
Okay,
So I
you
was
check
opening
and
one by
message me.
one. So
Everyone just check and message. If
Yeah.
there is anything missing, then you let me know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 times नमोकार मंत्र।